Before we get started, let's get some definitions clear. Conceptual error. A conceptual error occurs when you may not know what equation or formula to use. Example, you didn't understand the concept. Computational error. A computational error occurs when the person doing the math problem makes a mathematical error such as typing a number into the calculator or copies the question down incorrectly. Example, 6x squared minus 9. 6 parentheses x plus 9, x plus 9. It should have been x plus 3 and not x plus 9. 6x plus 3 parentheses x plus 3. Error in communication. You may have read the question incorrectly or didn't do all of what was asked. Example, it asked for you to find the midpoint in distance, but you only found the midpoint. The answer was asked to be given in an ordered pair, and you wrote x equals 3, y equals 4 instead of 3, 4. Error in reasoning. Error in reasoning occurs when you might be asked to explain your reasoning. Example, you failed to show your work. Okay, today on Math Jeopardy, our 3 contestants will be asked to pick from the 5 categories that are conceptual, computational, error in reasoning, error in communication, and 1 category at random. They can choose a question anywhere ranging from 100 to 400 points. The problems will be worked out on paper, and if done incorrectly, we will say how many points they missed. Also, we will rework them out, resulting in the correct answers. This will hopefully give you a better understanding of what went wrong. Today our contestants are Paige Burton, Bergen Fisher, and AJ Perkins. Let's get started. I'm going to go with error in reasoning for 400, please.
Error in reasoning, minus 4. f of x equals x to the 5th minus 2x cubed plus 3x minus 6. They thought the leading coefficient was 5 and the degree was 1, and they thought it falls left and falls right. Well, let's see what they did wrong.
They should have said the leading coefficient was 1 because there's nothing in front of the x, and then the degree was 5. And it still falls left and falls right. Error in communication for 100, please.
Error in communication, minus 1. Points, -1 and 4, and 5, 2. The question was to find the midpoint in distance. They found the midpoint right with -1 plus 5 over 2, 4 plus 2 over 2. And the final answer was midpoint equals 2 and 3. They found that right, but they didn't find the distance. Let's find out what they could do right.
With the distance, once they set it up, they got d to equal the square root of 40, so the midpoint is 2, 3, and the distance is the square root of 40. Let's do that same category for 2.
Error in communication, minus 2. Square root of -100 times the square root of -18. The final answer was 30i squared root of 2, which is wrong. Let's find out what they did.
Alright, they did all of it right until they got up to when they multiplied the 10i times 3i squared. It should have gave them 30i squared square root of 2, and when you get that, the I squared becomes -1, so it should have been 30 times -1 square root of 2. So the final answer should have been -30 square root of 2. Let's do computational 100.
Computational, minus 1. 6x squared minus 54. 6 parentheses x squared minus 9 parentheses. 6x plus 9, x plus 9. Let's see what they did wrong.
Alright, so when we factor this, we pull out a 6, and that gives us x squared minus 9. And then when we factor this middle term, it's x plus 3 and x plus 3, not x plus 9, x plus 9. I'm going to pick conceptual for 200, please.
Conceptual, minus 2. The square root of x plus 5. X plus 5 is less than or equal to 0. All real numbers are greater than or less than or equal to x. Let's see what they did wrong.
Alright, so when they did this, they had x plus 5 is less than or equal to 0. When they rewrote it, it should have been all real numbers greater than or equal to -5. They forgot to put a negative sign in front of the 5, and the domain is what makes the under the radical 0. So that's why we needed the negative sign there.
The total of conceptual problems that we missed when all the tests combined was 54 out of 393, which equals out to 13.7%. Total computational problems that we missed, 49 out of 393. That is a total of 12.5%. Problems of error in reasoning, 16 out of 393, which is about 4%. Error in communication was 15 out of 393, and that was about a total of 3.8%. Error in communication, minus 2. Negative 100, square root of negative 100 times square root of negative 18. The final answer was 30i square root of 2, which is wrong. Let's find out what they did wrong.
Alright, so when they took the square root, they did that right by getting 10i times 3i square root of 2. But when they multiplied these together, it should have...